Hey guys, welcome back to another one of our High Flyer Digital webinars. I'm your host, Isaac Hyman, and today we're going to be talking all about our 10-figure email design masterclass that you see before you. Really want to get you guys doubling your clicks, tripling your conversion rates by enhancing your design strategy and your creatives. That's the goal of this webinar. And at the end of the day, as you'll see from this webinar, I have a mantra, right, that I think a lot of brands are starting to get in line with. Every relationship starts with a click. And if your designs are not geared to get that click, exchange that data, get customers engaging with you and building a relationship with you, you're going to get nowhere in 2025. It's just not going to happen for you. So really, I'm super excited to share this philosophy and the strategy with you. Pretty much, this is the 10-figure strategy, right? I was a former VP of retention, which I'll talk about in a second. And this is what the top brands are doing and how they're thinking. So super excited to get you this information, get you this content, all updated for 2025. Let's get going. Let me just verify that we're live everywhere, and we will get started. Let me blow up my screen, and we are good to go. 1 second. Okay, so let's jump right in. By the end of this webinar, I really want you to refocus on what really matters when it comes to email design. I want you to remove all design bottlenecks from your process, design more engaging, higher converting emails, increase your click rate and conversion rate, reduce your Klaviyo costs. That's a hidden bonus. Reduce your Klaviyo costs by sending fewer emails, but better emails. Really important. And enhance your customer personalization with every email you send. And then, as always, double your revenues while cutting your costs and your time in half. That's the main draw of this webinar, right? More money, half the time, fewer costs, more profits, right? Who is this playbook for? This is for 7 to 8 figure retailers looking to actually unlock the true revenue potential of their list. 9 to 10 figure retailers who actually need a real strategy, not tactics. You're going to find a lot of brands out there are being taught or trained or guided or advised by just tacticians, designers, or copywriters, or coders. No one has a real strategy, and I'm excited to bring that to the table. And I'll tell you why I'm more qualified to bring that to the table in a second. But I know that it's not about the tactic, it's about the strategy. The tactics come after. It's for D2C brands who really want to cut their email costs down, right? Klaviyo and ESPs have raised their costs consistently. And how do you get your costs down? Well, it comes down to sending better messages, not more, right? At the end of the day. And it's for founders and CEOs who want to stop winging it every month. Maybe you start a brand and you realize, I'm just winging it and running after things. And I'm hearing all these cool new things going on, AI this and machine learning that, all these new tactics that don't have a kind of robust strategy and constantly always trying to wing it. And it's for also CMOs who want to spend less time sending and more on strategy. Really important to realize that strategy first, you can have sending volume and tactics all after that. So that's who this playbook is for. And if you stay to the very end, I'm going to share with you exactly how to get all this content for free. Over $12,000 in bonus content available for you from my expertise, my background as a VP of retention, my background of running email and SMS programs for some of the top 10-figure brands in the world. And I will give it all to you, right? And just have to implement it, which is pretty much the harder part. I always talk a little bit about my proven 10-figure strategy right here. Number one, I invite you to learn it. Learn the strategy. We're updating my 330-page, look at that thick book, 330-page book right here, Ultimate E-commerce Email and SMS Playbook. I give it out to everyone for free. Why not? You should learn how the top brands are doing it. And you can also learn how to implement it with my Mach 10 Email Masterclass, right? So I show you a 40-video masterclass there that shows you how to implement my strategy, not at the super high level that we do for you, but like definitely gets you off the ground and running. And we're actually updating our portal where we actually are hosting the videos. So that site may be down, but definitely email me and I'll send you a link to the new site that we have being built and you'll get first access. So learn my strategy, implement it there. And on top of it, it's not just about email SMS, it's also about retention. And I have a 2025 customer retention playbook, the secret to never losing the e-commerce customer ever again. I'm going to share with you how customer churn killed and bankrupted a lot of retailers and brands in 2024 and how to prevent it from happening to you in 2025. You can get that book at getlifetimebuyers.com. Easy domain to remember, getlifetimebuyers.com. Very simple, free book, 88 pages. I'm going to call it a book, maybe a pamphlet, but a playbook, right? 88 pages. You can consume it like that. It comes with a companion hour-long course just to walk you through it. Really helpful for brands to get that retention strategy locked in. A little about me, right? If you've been to my webinars before, you know I'm an ex-VP of retention. I was a speaker, panelist, author, wrote the book on it, and founder of High Flyer Digital. I've managed multi-million member customer files, 20 million members, almost approaching 30 million if you use our sunset list. Wrote the book on it, created the masterclass on it. I work with over 110, about 100, 110 plus e-commerce retailers and brands so far, and I've been on your side of the table. That's my biggest advantage here. I've been on your side of the table as a VP of retention. I've worked with every single app, every single vendor, ESP, agency out there. I know what you're going through. I know the challenges of scaling your email SMS retention strategy to the next level. I've had to do it. I've had to battle management. I've had to teach management. I've had to work with a team, fired people, fired agencies. I know exactly what you're going through because I've had to do it. I've even I used to be hired as an email marketing manager, and I built up all the way to the VP level through trial and error, fire, right? I started off in sales, actually, and that was very interesting. Sales is what taught me how to build better relationships with people. And then email SMS allowed me to scale that mindset and how to build relationships up to millions of subscribers. So have some great learnings there to share with you on all our webinars. Let me tell a little bit about my horror stories with design, because I have had quite a lot since I was an email marketing manager. When it comes to design, everyone has an opinion. Everyone's got an opinion on design. And pretty much the end person that makes the decision is either the designer or the owner, right? And they don't have so much data to back it up. So they go with what they feel, right? And they don't have the data. So it's really opinions. It's subjective. And most of the designs that are being created are meant to just be looked at, right? You're staring at like in the Louvre, right? Great obsessive designs. You want to get every little nuance designed perfectly and get the shadow on this image and get the image here and centered and get the call to action rounded corners and get everything perfect and cool. But that ends up leading to low engagement, right? You're obsessing over a campaign that's going to lose momentum in a couple hours in the inbox. And then you're on to the next email, right? And there's low engagement on some of these because, maybe it's over designed or it didn't really drive the revenue or engagement you intended, right? And when they did click, there was a very low conversion rate. So even if the design was gorgeously designed and obsessed over, the clicks and the conversion just weren't there. And that led to just, kind of a time sink, so much time wasted. And then if you top it off, and again, I've been out of the top right, so if you top it off with customer service feedback and merchandising always telling you, oh, we should put this in here, we should put that in there, or I need to do this, or we need to add this disclaimer, we need this. There's too much input, right? Too many chefs in the kitchen obsessing over one lousy email design, right? There's too much going on. And what you have to have, I had that epiphany over years of sending the same stuff and gorgeous emails and not hitting my revenue goals. I realized there's a better way to do it that would double my revenues while sending fewer messages and focusing on what really mattered, which is the click. And I focused on 4 key design pillars that excel in just really 2 things for the most part: more clicks, better conversions. Okay? That's the goal. You can't buy from an email design, right? You buy from the website. So what's our goal? Get more traffic to the website, the traffic generator. And then once they're on the website, I want to make sure that the journey from the inbox to the website is seamless so they can go and convert faster, right? What happened when I implemented this 4-step C4 design playbook? Clients went from $47 million a year to $73 million a year in 8 months while sending 11% fewer campaigns. Another one went from $10 million a year from their email revenue to $29 million a year in 1 year while sending 20% fewer campaigns, right? That's where we want to get to. That's where, imagine being at that level. It's a big brand. So imagine being at that level and sending fewer campaigns. You'll do a lot better. Before we get into my C4 design playbook, it's really important to understand the mindset and the strategy behind my 10-figure email and SMS strategy right here. Okay, so let's just do a quick recap of it so you remind yourself about what's really important when it comes to email and SMS and really email design. Most brands approach their email SMS program where they focus on tactics, design, and copy and coding, right? Or their ESP. All good things, all good things. But in reality is you need to have a strategy first, and everything else will layer on top of that, right? Design is not the tip of the spear. Copy is not tip of the spear. Strategy is. That comes first. And you're focused on batch and blast, brute force attacks, sending more. People are telling you, oh my God, I just can't, I can never get through it. People that you may be learning from or on LinkedIn or on YouTube are telling you send more, send more, send more. I'm the one guy who's going to ever tell you to send fewer, but better. And sometimes you do some segmentation, or maybe you focus on campaigns because that's the one you have a little more control over, and you get obsessed with copy and creatives. Does this sound familiar? Sounds like your typical day. And you've, again, been told, send more often, send more often. And these experts have a vested interest in you sending more. And that's not going to retain your customers. What happens is you end up burning your list. They tune you out. Okay. That is going to be, if you send more emails and text, you make more money, you'll be more profitable. That's what they promise you, but they burn your list. And I have done that. I spent one of my years as an email marketing manager for a 9-figure brand, and I sent double the amount of emails in 1 year, made a lot of money. And the next year it died. It totally died out. Okay. So I'm warning you, don't do that mistake. I learned from it. I wasn't the boss then, but I was the email marketing manager at the time. And you burn your list. That's not a way to build better relationships. And again, sending more increases your churn, your unsubscribe rate. Look at Nordstrom sending 2-3 emails a day. How can that possibly be a good output? This is Nordstrom. Your brand sending 2, 3 emails, 4 emails a week. You can probably do better by sending better emails, not more. So my mantra, my recommendation is always stop sending more emails and start focusing on building better customer relationships. That's the genesis of my strategy. If there's one thing you take out of anything I've said over years of webinars, it's that. Stop sending emails, start building better customer relationships. It's not just me saying it. Klaviyo jumped on the bandwagon too. This is exactly what I've been saying for years. Just this year, Klaviyo, which a lot of brands are on, mimicked the exact same thing, right? Build better customer relationships. They're jumping on board. They need to jump on board. I'm 10 years ahead. They're coming aboard, right? It's amazing to see that same, we're in sync, right? That's the way it needs to be. That's how the top brands have been thinking for years. Your brand needs to start thinking that way too. Now, what is the mindset of building better customer relationships? Number one, the why. You have to reverse your mindset. You're not here to send emails. You're here to build better customer relationships, right? Simon Sinek's You Start With Why TED Talk. Remember that? Focus on the why, not the what. Most people think send more, send emails, send text. I'm saying reverse the mindset. Focus on, I have a goal of building better customer relationships that are longer lasting, drive more profits, more lifetime value, more revenue, more happiness, more satisfaction, more referrals. That's the goal. But how do you do that? You do that by connecting with every person on your list in a one-to-one level as best you can, right? Connect with the person behind the inbox. And what do? You're using email and SMS because it's the most intimate channel for them. It's the most intimate data source, data point that they've given you. And that's where you want to be. So you got to reverse the mindset. Go from sending more to building better customer relationships, right? That's the mindset reversal that the top brands are thinking at, okay? Now, how do you do that? Again, this is all part of my book, all part of my masterclass, all part of every single one of my webinars. 4 steps in my 10-figure email SMS strategy: segmentation, personalization, automation, multiplication, right? You want granular segmentation, deep one-to-one personalization, advanced automations, not just those out-of-the-box ones you get from Klaviyo or Omnisend or MailChimp, and then multiply that for different channels, cohorts, products, right? That's the goal of it. Let me distill it down a little further. Right person, right message, right time, repeat. Right person, right message, right time, repeat. Very easy to understand. You want to find the right person, send them the right message at the right time in their journey and buying cycle, and repeat it over and over for different products, cohorts, or channels. That's a 10-figure strategy. and you'll be surprised. You probably are getting emails from some of the top brands. You don't even realize it's an automation. You don't even realize that it's been multiplied for the products you're looking at. You don't even realize that they're segmenting out and you're seeing one creative and someone else is seeing a different creative. You don't realize that. I do, because I know exactly how they do it. So that's what the strategy is, right? Our 10-figure email SMS strategy. The outcome of that, you regain a list that's engaged, loyal, and valuable forever. They're actually clicking and converting more often, spending more, returning less, more profitable, predictable, hedging against macroeconomic challenges like tariffs right now, inflation, recession, right? It hedges against it because you have a list that's more engaged. They're sharing with friends and family, and they're rarely ever unsubscribing because you know what? You're building a better relationship with them. They don't want to leave this community. They'll leave a brand. They won't leave a community. Okay. So it's a very different mindset to have. And I'm teaching you how to do that within my book and within this all my webinars and content. Now that you remember, we recap the strategy, let me tell you why now it's really important to rethink your email design. Obsessing over design is losing you customers and costing you millions right now. And here's the main reason why. Most of your emails are designed for you. The best emails, though, are designed for them. Them are your customers, not for you. It's one thing if you're staring at your email and admiring it and loving it and you think it's great. It's a very different approach to start saying, you know, let me take a back seat and start designing my emails with them in mind. Really important to remember that. Not many people internalize it. They think that there's a match. They think that there's a total, whatever they see is exactly what the customer wants to see, but it doesn't reflect in the data, doesn't reflect in the results, right? If you're on this webinar and you're watching it, it just doesn't reflect, period, right? Data doesn't lie. And most brands obsess over design, right? Just getting a nice creative, really upgrading the creative on their campaigns, trying to make it super amazing and unique. You know how many times I've seen on, socials, like, or you see maybe on ads and things like that, like, oh, we redesigned the email here for this brand and made it really cool and a better design. And we took this brand's old email and tried to redo it for someone else and with our philosophy. Now, at the end of the day, that's subjective. That is so subjective, okay? Because design is subjective. Remember, they're designing it for themselves. My opinion, and I have an opinion, you have an opinion, but data is a tiebreaker. And most of the times, if the brand is big enough and they design a certain way, they probably have the data to back it up. But most of the times it's subjective because it's based around you. And they don't obsess over their customer, which is where the disconnect is. You're designing an email that you think may be great, but in reality is, based on what the results you're seeing, the customer does not agree. It's important to stop, listen to what the customer is telling you. How you listen to them? Well, the clicks and conversions, unsubscribe rate. Those are the data points that we've elected to say, this is what the customer's telling us, right? So you got to obsess over the customer and not over you and your design. Hard to get people to break free from that. But it's not just me saying it. This is, like I said, the data. The data doesn't lie. That's the number one reason your email design sucks and doesn't convert is lack of personalization. Personalization is the number one killer of email, SMS, and retention programs out there. 80% of consumers are more likely to make a purchase when brands offer personalized experiences. 83% of consumers are willing to share their personal information to enable personalized experiences. They're giving you their data. When they make a purchase, when they sign up for your list, they're giving you information about themselves. Now, what are you doing with that? Probably nothing, okay? Because you're just talking at people. You're not designing for them. They've trusted you with that information, okay? That's how important personalization is. 4 out of 5 people want a more personalized experience, yet personalization is rarely being used. Only 15% of marketers actually use the data available to them, breaking that trust and expectation. This is from McKinsey. 15% don't use it, right? They don't even implement it. Only 15%. Yet if they did, huge jumps in profit, huge jumps in retention, 10 to 50% increase in revenue uplift using personalization. And that lack of usage leads to switching to competitors. 72% of customers will only engage with personalized messaging. If they don't, they're bouncing. They're going to your nearest competitor. Facts, not my data. It's just what the data tells us, right? And U.S. companies lost $136 billion per year due to avoidable consumer switching. Consumers have options. They really do. And if you aren't looking at your list as a bunch of people and humans, and you're thinking of them as emails and texts, you have already lost. Okay. And that's just not where you want to be. And it shows in the data. You're losing revenue, your list is going to get burned, and then you're back to square one. That costs you profit, reputation, and competitiveness, right? You lost their trust, right? You start treating them like emails and phone numbers instead of people. And that's where it went totally wrong. All the data is here. Now, how do you see that? Like, what does that mean? It means that you're spending time on gorgeous emails that don't get clicked, obsessive copy that doesn't convert, blasting campaigns to make some money, right? And then you start reverting back to talking at your customers instead of listening and reacting. Spending more because you got to make money, right? But sending more raises your Klaviyo costs. And then you have zero testing because you have no time in the day. And it ends up that you're going from the hero brand that they had signed up for, that they got excited at some point, to an annoying salesperson that you avoid, you abandon, you leave, you tune out, and you eventually unsubscribe from, right? So it all started with these gorgeous emails that were designed with you in mind, that you wanted to share your brand, you want to talk about yourself, and you just want to, customers just want to avoid you, right? They're done. They don't want to hear anymore. That's where you're at right now. So now you see the pain point. It's backed up by the data. Personalization is key. So why aren't brands reacting to it? Why aren't you doing it right now? Right? Why is the next campaign you have going out designed? Your agency or your team spent hours and weeks and days on designing something, and why aren't you changing? Why aren't you putting that forward? Yeah, it's hard, but why aren't you doing this right now? Why aren't you pivoting? Here's some of the top reasons I've seen after auditing about 500 brands or so lifetime. Here's why brands fail to rethink their email design strategy. There's no time in the day, unimaginable time constraints. That's one of our clients said. They're unsure of what the potential could be. They're obsessed with their brand over their customers, which already is a problem. They're like staring at their emails instead of selling, right? Imagine sending an email in the inbox like, oh, I spent 3 weeks on this email. It looked great to me. Why didn't anyone buy? And I still get that with some clients and say, oh, we've spent time doing design and some things there. Happens all the time. But our strategy goes beyond just the recent campaign design. But the number one reason that you're being held back from implementing a better design strategy is that your agency or your team are just glorified designers, not strategists, right? That's what they are. They're admiring themselves. Honestly, they don't know a better way. They don't know a better way, right? They know Figma, they know Canva, they know Photoshop. They're designers. That's it. They don't want to change, right? They have a great design, great flow. They don't want to change. They design emails. They don't build relationships. I just told you the magic behind your email SMS program is by saying, I'm not here to send emails. I'm here to build better customer relationships. But they're there to design emails. They design for rewards, not for clicks, not results, right? They don't think, this is the biggest one. You'll find out in my C4 playbook. They don't think about after the click, right? The email is static, goes to the inbox, we're done, right? Job well done. What happens after that? If they come to the website, that's where the magic happens, right? That's where the relationship starts being built. That's where the data is exchanged. They don't take that into account. And they're thinking at a 6-figure level, not 10 figures, right? If you look at your agencies, they're really designers. At the end of the day, they're designers. I would say 98% of them are designers. And I hired these agencies too. Don't get me wrong. We had a design team I used to work with, but I also, when I was VP of retention, I hired agencies that were just versioning agencies. They took one design and they versioned it out based on my C4 playbook, and that was good. But at the end of the day, they're just glorified designers. There's a better way. You need a strategy in place. Okay, email designers make everything about the design, scrollable and graphics and photos and copyright and revisions, GIFs, illustrations, you name it, anything to kind of up the level above another designer. So it's all about the design. But real email experts make everything about the customer. And there's about 4 pillars. I'm going to show you what those are in a second, right? Because it doesn't just revolve around the design. It revolves around the customer. Very important slide. Very important slide to remember. Email designers make everything about design. They don't make it about customers. That's why you're stuck. Design is just one part of the end goal, which was my 4-step strategy, right? And design is just part of personalization. Personalization is the goal, right? Great design is part of it. Copy is part of it. Offer is part of it. Context is part of it. Data, customer data is part of it. Your linking strategy is part of it. The device is part of it. All that is part of personalization, not the other way around, right? If you think about design as the tip of the spear, you're done. You're done. In 2025, you're done. It's lights out for you. Give it a year, you're lights out. It's about personalization. Data is telling you that. We're in a world where we have technology at our fingertips, right? Maybe you're a brand or you're an owner or founder who grew up in a world without the technology, without the amazing amount of machine learning algorithms, AI that we have nowadays. But the customers coming up now, the customers that are growing into maturity and have more spending power and purchasing power, grew up in an age where there was all this technology at their fingertips and they're used to it. 4 to 5 customers demand personalization, but you're still designing as if you have no data available, as if design is the tip of the spear. That's wrong. So those designers are holding you back. That's why you haven't implemented it. This is where my C4 email design playbook comes in and where we're going to change the mindset, because this is where you need to be. Change the game, change how you approach your design strategy, and then you can then start unlocking the true revenue potential of your email and SMS list and really just wow them, right? That's really what it's about. Really wow them. Let's talk a little bit about where C4 came from. Now, I think we very clearly, C4 is like the explosive. And, this is a way of saying, like, you know what? Our C4 design playbook allows you to do one thing, which is explode your clicks. More clicks, more traffic to your site, higher chance of conversions, right? More clicks, more conversions. That's your C4 playbook, right? We got Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone here, back in those 80s, 90s movies where C4 was very prominent. That's where we named it after. So C4 design playbook is a really cool tongue-in-cheek thing of how we approach it. But what does it stand for? Okay, and C4 playbook doesn't just come down to that cool like explode your clicks. It comes down to literally the 4 C's of great design: context, creatives, customer, and conversion. Okay, we want to focus on the context of your email, accentuate the why, and we'll go into all these stages in a second. Creatives, are the creatives designed to get the click? Because every relationship starts with a click. Is it customer centric? Are we putting the customer at the center of every email we send? And conversion, it's not just about the design, it's about the destination. I'm going to coin that term. I just thought of it right now. It's not about the design, it's about the destination. Very true. So we get some good pearls as we go, right? So context, creatives, customer, and conversion, they all go hand in hand, right? It's like a little flywheel effect right there. Context, accentuate the why. Why is this email important to your customers right now? Creatives, design emails that are meant to be personalized to the customers, right? Get that click. The customer tier, pillar, connect with the person behind the inbox on a one-to-one level every time, as often as you can. It doesn't have to be every time. 1 email a week, 2 emails a week, designed with this strategy in mind. You'll see a major difference in your revenue. And finally, conversion. Start with the end in mind and handhold the customer from click to conversion seamlessly. What will happen is you'll get double the clicks and you'll be able to reduce the number of sends. That's my C4 email design playbook at a glance. High-level strategy right there, right? 4 C's: context, creatives, customer, and conversion. Really important to remember those 4 pillars. They have to go hand in hand. All of them got to go together. You'll realize that I'm not going to teach you one thing and say, like, okay, do your copy or I'm not going to have a session just dedicated to copywriting. I'm really never going to have that because that's just a tactic. I will have something dedicated to personalization, how to see it through from start to finish, because copy is just one little thing. not going to have a seminar just dedicated to deliverability, because if you're personalizing your emails and you're segmenting them out correctly, that's all you need. We don't need to worry about deliverability, right? So it goes deeper than just tactics. This is about strategy and how to apply it, because those applications and those tactics will fall in line, as you'll see in a second. Great example. Now, I said on my past webinars that I have to redesign this case study, because we were using some really old graphics that my old designer had put together for us on these slides. And I was like, you know what? It's time to update that and make it a little more visual, a little more clear. So I'm glad we get that done. Let me walk you through a really quick application and case study of how this C4 playbook works so you can really visualize it. Here's a standard flash sale, okay? And big words, bold copy. And I used to run this when I was just the director of retention, not VP yet. I was director of retention. I used to run this for a 9-figure retailer in consumer electronics. And a standard typical flash sale, right? Every brand does that. A flash sale on maybe a slew of products. If you're a retailer, certainly you have maybe a select amount of products that are on discount, or maybe a couple of vendors put on your Apple or your Canon, your Nikon, or whatever it is on sale. So you ran a flash sale for those products. Standard operating procedure, right? Maybe you throw in your products to show variety on the page, and it clicked back to a standard collection page on sale, right? Collection, shopify.com/collection/sale. Sorry. And then you launched it to your basic 30-day engaged standard list. Call it a day. We used to do that a lot. All year long, we used to do that, right? 617,000 emails sent, and we made $109,000 in revenue. A pretty solid day, right? Not bad. Not a bad sale. Pretty good. But at the end of the day, it was profit reducing, and it was still in the mindset of batch and blast, and it was expensive, right? It was expensive to send an email like that. 617,000 people. It's a big email. Hit or miss, right? I got to make it a really home run sale, or it's not going to pay the bills, right? So really, this is the standard way most brands are operating it. I'm going to show you now how to apply this to a C4 design playbook. After years of saying it that way, I came in and said there's a better way. And it comes down to saying segmentation and personalization. So I paired this creative and this idea and mentality of the flash sale with my segmentation and personalization approach, right person, right message. And then I added in my C4 design playbook. Now, how did I think about it? Well, I looked at my list and I said, well, what would happen if we segment out Apple fans, right? An Apple fan segment. That's a separate webinar. I'll tell you how to do segmentation. Apple fan segment. And let's do this. Let's design for our Apple fans. And then let's change the link. So the sale link only shows Apple products. And then I want to personalize from top down, from the subject line down to the very link, everything Apple flash sale instead of just generic flash sale. And I want to send to them first, isolate the variable. And then we did that once, and I'll show the results in a second. But then I started thinking deeper. I was like, well, how about we send it out to people who are looking at lenses right now? And let's design for lens fans. And let's link them to lenses and personalize from subject line to the link, all about lenses, and send to them next, right? So now we're thinking a little bit deeper. Then I wanted to build out the email further. Maybe we should show them more products related to lenses, and show them more products related to Apple, and show everyone else on our list who we need to send them miscellaneous products from the sale collection, right? Personalized, segmented, and personalized, right? Instead of flash sale up to 50% off, now I could say lens sale up to 25% off, Apple sale up to 50% off, right? Different approaches, different segmentation, different personalization. What happened? We ended up, after sending it to everyone on that segmented out, we ended up netting out a 288,000 emails sent, and we actually made $180,000. So we sent to half the list and made nearly double the revenue, okay? Because before, we had our generic BAU creatives, business as usual creatives, one size fits all copy, one link for everyone. After my C4 playbook, different context, copy, and focus, different dynamic designs, look and feel, different dynamic customer segments, different linking strategy for every single template. And we ended up netting out about 7 different versions. Half the sends, double the revenue. Pretty cool. Okay. Look again. On the left, 617,000 emails sent, $109,000 generated. On the right, C4 playbook version, 288,000 emails sent, 180,000 generated. Half the sends, double the revenue. Wow, pretty cool. How do we apply our C4 playbook to that? Context, right? We start with that first pillar, context. Make sure we had that 1-day sale, that treatment of treating customers like a VIP. That's all in the context stage. Creatives, we're differentiated and personalized. Customer, we personalize the copy, tone, language, products in there to the customer. And finally, conversion, a different URL that's dynamic that link back to a different destination per email. That's the C4 playbook in action. Imagine your brand sending half the emails, bringing your costs down while doubling the revenue. Pretty cool outcome. I'm not saying it's instant. I'm not saying you could turn this on right away tomorrow, but we're going to get to that mindset and the strategy and the philosophy and then put it into action. So let's get deeper into that, starting with design pillar number 1, context. You got to accentuate why this email matters. At the end of the day, if you're just talking at someone and you're not explaining the features and the benefits and the outcome of your email, what's the point? No one wants to hear you speak, right? We want to get to what the outcome is for me. That's the goal of it. So accentuate the why with every send. And this is an area where a lot of brands are actually starting to get there a little bit more, right? They're starting to realize, you know what, I don't just want to send emails just for the sake of sending emails, or 50% off here, 90% off here, 30% off here. Give a why. Why is this email important? Why do I need this product now? Why is this important for me to open right now? Go from what to why, and your product and why your product and message is valuable right now. And if you try to talk to everyone, you're really talking to no one. So segmentation is really important to remember. Copywriting is good, but context is way better. Okay. If your copy is just talking about why this product is on sale and why it's a flash sale to buy now, that's not going to get you to that next level. We want to focus on the context of the email, why it's important. And remember that email and SMS really starts the customer journey. It's the first path in their journey to the website. So really the website also has to play a role here, but the context of it has to go all across the board. When you're writing a brief for this email, what is you looking to achieve? What do you want the customer to achieve from this email? Let customers pitch for you. If you want to get inspiration for your context, dive into your UGC and reviews. Turn your features into outcomes, right? I'll show you some examples in a second instead of going to specifics, right? So here's a great example from Allbirds where they have a very intense, method of designing their shoes, and it's lightweight, breathable eucalyptus fiber. Pretty cool. Or cushion midsole, all good stuff, right? But what they're telling you is there's a benefit to it, right? It gives you all-day support and it's next level comfort, right? All the things you're talking about within your landing page, all good things. Got to translate that into your email program too, right? Into your email strategy, because that gives you the context of it. Or take this consumer electronics brand, this laptop over here, right? I know I'm like an expert in consumer electronics, but I had a lot of specs, right? This spec and that spec, and it's got this spec and I don't even know half the specs. 10th gen Intel Core i5 processor. Okay, I guess, right? But what is the outcome of that processor? You can get more done. Get more done with the powerful processor. Cut the clutter of cords and cables with this wireless laptop, right? Those are the outcomes. So turn your specs into outcomes. And then also, great example from Boston Market here, a little on the bottom from an SMS side, right? Great example of how you turn an offer into a need. Where on a windy day, I had gotten this text message as part of it. We're signed up to so many lists right now. I got this message on a very cold, windy day. And it said there was a rainy day, actually. It said, need a little comfort food right now. It's the perfect time. And it's geolocated, so they know that weather was bad where I was. It was a perfect time to send it, right? And the delivery is still free. That's context. You turn your offer into a need. So really reshaping from the mindset of just thinking about copy and going into context is really the magic, the first starting point of a great design strategy. And it's really important also to remember, whenever you're doing design, what you have in your mind and what you think is good is not always translated to your list, and not always translated to your customers, and certainly in some cases not even translated to your designer. That's where the gap is, right? So it's really important that you make a creative brief for the team, right? There's some takeaways here. Make a creative brief for the team. No silos. There can't be silos. You can't have an email designer who doesn't understand that this has to take the clicks to the site. You have to match the experience, right? And what you have as an owner, as a founder, as a CMO, what you have in your mind needs to be translated down as a benefit and an outcome to your team. Have one context brief for copy and creatives and conversion, right? Can make sure they understand the journey that you're expecting them to take. Map out your segmentation and personalization as a takeaway here. Feature, benefits, outcome. I've always found too that it's really important whenever you're creating a context for your design is you got to have what's in it for me. Most designers, especially when you're at the big brands or even at the, as you're a growing brand, maybe you have a designer here, they need to understand what's in it for me. What's the value of me designing an email that gets more clicks? What's the value of me designing emails that take the customer into account? What's the value? This is where they need to understand the KPIs and the stake they have in it for the sake of the brand and for themselves, right? We used to give a bonus for our designers if they got more clicks from their emails. There's a bonus right there, right? And what helps with that is if you share post-launch data for this context, because at the end of the day, if the context of your emails don't really make sense, no one really get on board again, right? And then you'll get back into a rush mode of like, oh, I just need this design, need that design, need this design. They're just designing to get out the door. And I have seen this time and time again where I've taken over accounts from retailers and brands, and the designer used to design this amazing, cascading, long, gorgeous looking email and didn't realize that, only 90% of the email got clicked, and that was just the top, hero image. That's it. 90% of the rest of the email didn't matter, right? So share post-launch data. This will speed up their time, improve their process, make them feel better, more better job satisfaction, and just it's a better experience for the customer at the end of the day. If you need inspiration, we have our AI for email playbook where you can have a customer avatar cheat sheet. Starts with understanding who you're sending to, right? That's the segmentation start. So takeaway, align everyone on your whole team on the why this email needs to be sent and why it's important. Design pillar number 2, creatives, okay? How do you bring that context to life? Remember, what's in your mind isn't necessarily translated to your designer or your team. Sometimes, as I know myself, sometimes we have the curse of knowledge. We know so much as brand owners and founders and marketers. We know so much, but reality is we're not so great at explaining it to other people because even though we know it, sometimes you got to distill it down really, really, simply. So that's why it's important to really bring that context to life in the best way. So number 2, the biggest thing you should remember about your design is that it starts with a click because every relationship starts with a click. The designs need to generate clicks, click volume, better clicks, quality clicks, right? Remember back in the day, we used to have clickbait. People used to send emails and it would just drive a huge amount of traffic to the site. Customers have gotten a lot more savvy about that. What you want to do is drive quality traffic to the site. And that starts with designing emails that just start getting the click. The quality will come in the next 2 phases I'm about to mention, the customer and the conversion. But start with the click in mind. That's really where you need to start with, right? Your creative brief is your Bible, right? Making sure your designer has that creative strategy in mind to get max amount of clicks. I would say goodbye to scrollable emails and you're seeing on your iPhone, like scrolling. Oh, nice email, right? Scroll all day. Something I want to look at. I don't want scrollable. I want actionable. Get them in, out, on with their day, back to the website. That's where we want them to be. Dynamic creatives using data and using AI, I'm going to show you in a second, beats static creatives, right? So if and you see this all the time, but you may not realize it because, the top brands are doing it really well. If I am shopping if I'm going to Nordstrom, right, and I'm shopping for men's shoes, I'll see men's shoes. If my wife is shopping for women's shoes, her creatives will be women's shoes. There's ways to do it, right? That's how they roll, right? If there's a kid shopping, I'll see kids shoes or teenagers really. New segment, new design. That's generally what works best because you get double the clicks. Now you're going to come back and tell me, well, Isaac, we don't have time anyway. How am I going to have time to do more design? I'm going to show you how to do it, right? There's a lot of cool things you could use with AI as well as with conditional logic within your platform. Design mobile first. That's almost a given right now, right? But the biggest thing I think is create and commit to a testing roadmap. Many designers don't have the knowledge or information they need to make data-driven decisions about their design. Remember what I told you before? Email agencies are just designers. We just ordered a brand last week where their design, they just sent out emails. Same design, no strategy. And of course, there's diminishing returns. Diminishing returns, revenue tanking, kind of slow death. There's no testing roadmap there. No test. I haven't seen a test on their account in about a year and a half. No design tests. They got into this method of like, just to pop it out and just send it out the door. Commit to a design testing roadmap. I have a version for you. If you need, you can email me. I have a testing roadmap for you to look at. And the most important thing is to go from context to creative, right? So going back to that context side, I just screenshot a few brands that are doing it really well, right? Best Buy, spring is here. What's their goal? Their goal is to make more tech for people who are furnishing their outdoors. And so they have, really done a great job at creating graphics and visuals that show one thing, nail the finishing touch on furniture and decor, right? And shows an item that you would want to have for your spring to get them to the next level. All they want to do is get them to click. They don't need these words of copy. They don't need tons of testimonials. They don't need tons of stuff in there. Just a click. Explore renewable outlook. Electric bikes. Click through. Go explore. You can't do anything on an email, right? Except click. Get them to click. Go to the site and shop, browse, look at reviews, whatever you want to do. Go to the site. Lighten up your routine, right? Very clear how that works, right? Everyone's cleaning for spring. Lighten up your routine. Click. Go in and shop our vacuums. Brooklinen does a great job, right? Where you can see the context of their email, limited edition, new sheets. Go click through to see what they have. This was a GIF too, showing variety of that because this may or may not match what I like. I wouldn't like that image. That's not my type of style. But showing variety in your GIF brings the context to life. Casper, come back to bed, right? Cart abandoned email right here. They come back to bed, right? Come back to cart kind of thing. That's the context. Very clear, easy click right back to where I started. That's kind of the magic behind bringing your context to life within your creatives. I'm going to go deeper into the design element in a second, into the creative pillar in a second, but I want to kind of match it up with customer because they really go hand in hand very well. So takeaway here, design for the click, not the reading. Design segmented creatives, segmentation, personalization, one segment, one design. That usually works really well. Dynamic designs with AI, so I'm going to show you in a second. Less copy, more action. Create a master design, something that really works. You've tested through 4 campaigns, 8 campaigns, flows as well. It's a master design, a master template that works, and then you version it out. Don't go the other way and saying like, let me kind of create 9 different versions and see what works and then give up. Focus on the master design first, then version it. Commit to a design A/B testing roadmap, right? You got to test. If you're not learning, you're not refining. And then learn from the post-launch data as well. Share it with the designer. So that's the design side, right? Where you design for the click, not for the reading, and it brings the context to life. Third design pillar to take into account is the customer, right? One of the biggest ones here. Make it about them, not you. The goal here is to revolve your designs around every customer you have. And the best, easiest way to do that, use your algorithms and your machine learning really effectively. You have AI in your Klaviyo account, in your Omnisend account, in your MailChimp account, right? You have some version of AI there. It's called machine learning. Recommended products, right? Conditional logic you have. Show different creatives based on some of their conditions of their data. And that's part number 2. Know your customer data. What data do you have about your customer that you can personalize? They're in LA, different creatives for LA versus different creatives in New York, right? What's the weather in LA versus the weather in New York? What's the time, right? If I'm on an apparel brand, right? More men, one design for men, one design for women, based on the data they've shown you, right? There are many times in the pop-up, you collect zero-party data when they come in. Personalize your design around that zero-party data and listen to your customers and react to them. The best designs are the ones that are relevant. It doesn't have to be amazing, gorgeous design. It just has to be timely, relevant at the time, right? The part of this is that whenever you're designing your emails, it's really important not to break the rapport, right? By talking at your customers. If you know a customer is almost at the finish line, or they're viewing a product, or they're viewing a collection, or they have items in a cart, build relationships with that person by showing them more of what they're interested in. Don't try to sell them something that they're not interested in buying. People don't want to be sold, but they love to buy. So by showing more of what they want to buy, it's a better way to build a relationship and increase your clicks and conversions. Personalize everything you can and focus on 80-20. You'll find that if you have a list of 100,000, probably 10,000 of them, maybe 20,000 of them at any given point are engaged with your program and in shopping mode, maybe even 5% of that. So personalize everything to that 5%. That's the low-hanging fruit. That's the one you want to get really invested in. So revolve around that 80-20. Let me show you an example. To take that away from just kind of the bullet points, I want to show you a clear example of how the top brands are thinking, right? This is a sideboard I had viewed. And I put this in every deck I show with some of the retailers I audit. I was viewing this sideboard right here. Gorgeous sideboard. I really liked it. Wasn't ready to commit yet. Not quite there yet. So Wayfair, the best in the game when it comes to email, SMS, and retention, in my opinion. Here's the email series I received. Sideboard and Buffet's top picks. Sideboard and Buffet's latest and greatest. Sideboards on sale. Sideboards for you. Sideboards you'll love. Sideboards under 300. Sideboard sale, right? And on and on. Everything related to sideboards. Now, why are they doing that? Because I've shown intent. I've shown what I'm interested in. They didn't bombard me with talking about, oh, go shop for our, go shop outdoor gear, or go shop for your bedroom, or go shop for your living room. They're showing me items and showing me emails and designs that are relevant to me. That's the magic. That's putting the customer at the center of everything you're doing, the customer at the center of your creatives, right? And you could see every single couple days, I got something related to sideboards. Is this a lot of emails? Well, no, not a lot. But at the end of the day, you're going to send them something anyway. You may as well make it relevant, right? Think of it this way. If you're sending 3 campaigns, are they really relevant to the customer, or are they just totally disjointed? Or this is what you want to talk about? Most likely, it's what you want to talk about. This shows that there's relevancy in every email they send. What does it look like? Very basic, just simple clicks. No fancy copy, no fancy GIFs, no great amount of scrollable copy right there. Easy, in, out, done. New sideboards. Click on the sideboard. The visual is very clear. I see a whole selection of sideboards there. Sideboards on clearance. My next touch. Very easy to navigate. Click through on your in. Sideboards on sale. Right there. Sideboards under 300. Everything's showing sideboards, which is what I'm in the market for. That's designing around the customer, not a fancy creative that your designers put together to stare at or to look at or admire. Things that are relevant to the customer. I do this for a lot of brands, this basic relevancy, but we also automate it. So I know if someone's browsing a certain item, yeah, they'll get the browser button, but I also expand on that, and I show them more related items like this. That's in my it's in my 10-figure strategy webinar as well. You can check that out. More relevant designs, because they're about the customer. They're not about what you want to sell. They're about what the customer wants to buy. I'm going to show you the next level of that in the conversion side so you can match it up together. So the takeaway here is more clicks equals more relationships, because you're revolving everything around the customer. Use your algorithms and machine learning conditional logic to show more relevant items, relevant collections to the customer. Customer first, design second. Create a data dictionary. Make sure you know what data you have on the customers that you can personalize within the email. There are many times when you maybe have reward points, or they have financing, or you have different colors or different styles that they like. You can put that in the email and base your email around that data point. Throw in how many review points, how many reward points they have available to them when they buy. And it's dynamic on a one-to-one level every single time. That's designed with the customer in mind. Listen and react. Send them one email, maybe your general new arrivals email, and then follow up with them similar to how Wayfair followed up about the sideboards, right? I've shown intent and interest in sideboards. Show me more of it. That's the magic of it. And implement KPIs. What are the KPIs that will prove this performance? So you can go back to your designer and say, hey, this email design, you didn't really need to design much, but it was designed around the customer and it really worked. Click rate. Look at the click rate for every email. Click to convert rate. How many people clicked and convert? What was that looking like? And time on site. How much time did they spend on the site looking at items related? That tells you that this is a good click. Remember, we told you it's not about clickbait. It's about getting more higher quality traffic to the site that's going to convert. And above all, test, learn, refine, as I say all the time. Let me go into now kind of how to combine creatives and customers, because a lot of times you're probably going to come back to me and say, you know what, Isaac, that sounds all good and well. And yes, our agency does this for a lot of brands and a lot of retailers out there. It's a whole new level of thinking. But how do I scale this up really quickly? Well, last webinar, I was talking all about AI for email and SMS and how to leverage AI and machine learning to make this efficient. I definitely invite you to check out that webinar. But I'm going to show you another way. I just kind of truncated 2 or 3 slides here about the power of using AI to scale this. So I want to show on the left, here's a non-dynamic email where from Sammy's camera, where just kind of stuff everything in it, right? Stuff it all. A lot of brands do that. We have Sony over here. We have some other problem with, I think it was Canon over here somewhere, maybe not this email, but a lot of different things in this email that you're not quite sure about what you should be showing, right? It's just not dynamic. It's all static. Took your designer 3 weeks to design this email, right? 3 weeks. And then you have on the right a 10-figure dynamic email where they just show picked for you, and it shows items that are just related to you, right? I'm an Apple guy. And so I see the Apple touchpad, I see the screen cover, and I saw the iPad Pro case, whatever it is, relevancy. And underneath it is the Sony banner, right? So they're prioritizing relevancy over Sony, right? So that tells me that they're using more machine learning to scale their email program, and it works because this is much more relevant for me, much more relevant for me. They have this machine learning algorithm in their feed. If you're using Klaviyo, you have that too. Less design work. This took our designer an hour, not 3 weeks like the one on the left, an hour, right? Easy to create. Same thing with Beyond Yoga versus Aloe Yoga. Beyond Yoga, I'm not into green. If I'm a subscriber, I'm not into green, I'm not going to want to even see this email. Hell, I may even unsubscribe. But I do know if Aloe Yoga is showing me an email that's dynamic and relevant to me, I may have a propensity to buy more, definitely to click more, okay? Personalized emails beat static emails all the time. So if you're not using some sort of dynamic capabilities in your emails, you're missing out. You're officially a dinosaur. Next are kinetic emails, where you can keep emails fresh at every time. We use this brand called Kick Dynamic or Centric or Zambula, where you can actually show an email and it actually will live in your inbox, right? It can just kind of, let's say there's a countdown to a sale, right? And the sale ends, or a flash sale for an item. Using this type of software, once the sale ends, you can actually swap out the creative. And anyone who opened or clicked the email before will see a whole new creative and even a whole new link. We used to use this all the time because many brands think that once the email is sent, it's done. It loses its relevancy. It's already out of the inbox and there's nothing else you could do with it. Kick Dynamic allows you to keep that momentum going, right? So it gives you some fresh content with every single open. I'm going to just give it a quick example here, right? Regular emails stay the same in the inbox, right? But kinetic emails, look the difference between the left and the right. One ends Monday, but look, this new banner came up when I opened this email again and said this sale has ended, but there are other great deals here. I click on that creative, I went to a whole new link. So it swaps out the creatives, the copy, and even the link. That's called kinetic emails. Some cool tools that do it are Kick Dynamic, Zambula, Fresh Inbox, and Rebel Mail. There's some other brands that probably do it too. Really cool application for using AI machine learning. Let's go another one deeper where we have a partnership with Grid and Pixel. They are a really cool app that allows you, if you're a Shopify brand, and certainly if you're on Klaviyo, that if you are sending a cardigan email or a welcome email, and you have a library of 1,000 SKUs, 10,000 SKUs, right? We're not talking like a one SKU, right? One SKU shop. But if you have 10,000 SKUs or whatever it is, right? You're not sure which product to feature in your welcome email. You have so many different products to feature. right? Which one will get them to convert more? So using their tool, they will show the item that's most relevant to that user in your graphics, not even in the recommendation algorithm, but in your graphics, right? They generate specific designs for specific segments. You see on the bottom here, right? And with one customer, they got this pen that's green. Another customer, they got this pen that's blue. Another customer, they got a pen that's red, all with the same email. So it renders at the time of send what will be the best look and feel of this email for every single customer on one-to-one level. That helps solve any design bottlenecks, right? It's personalized creatives as best as reasonably as possible. It improves your clicks and conversions. So I really like this tool. We're still testing it a little bit, but that's the vision of it, right? Right before, you had a regular welcome, regular image in there, like a wallet. After, you have one person sees a pen, if they're interested in that type of blue pen. Another one sees a green pen, if they're interested in that green pen, right? So it shows the item they're most likely to buy or like based on the data they're giving it. That's how you use AI within your creatives to help you version out your creatives to adhere to our C4 playbook. I've been using these type of tools for about 5 years already, for 5-10 years already, way before it started becoming popular. So I'm pretty familiar with the capabilities of them. But I'm really happy to see that Shopify and Klaviyo brands are starting to get on board with it. And my last one here also, as part of our C4 playbook, is AI generated video, where I said this on the past one here, where you have a video within your email. This is from Maverick, trymaverick.com, where you can create a video, one static video, and using AI and your data, they will automatically import the first name of the customer, the product they're looking at. So instead of the video saying, hey, man, I saw you checking us out, come back and buy. They say, hey, Isaac, I saw you checking us out, come back and buy. Hey, Olivia, I saw you checking us out, come buy. All on a one-to-one level at the time of send. Really cool way. Instead of creating a one-size-fits-all design or video, it allows you to have a dynamic name, a dynamic offer, more intimate conversations, and above all, improve clicks and conversion, because that's what we're talking about, design playbook here, right? Before, regular abandon, static offer, no dynamism. After, using video and AI, you can personalize the name and offer into a video. Really cool application also that improves clicks and conversion by leveraging creatives and customer as part of our C4 design playbook. I know we're a little over time, but we're still going to keep going. So number 4 in our design pillars, our C4 design playbook, is conversion, right? How are you going to get people to buy more when they land on the site, right? Because we're not here for clickbait. We're here for more purchases. So taking them from click to conversion is super important. More clicks plus better links equals higher conversion. I had shown you before where we had that email, budget-friendly sideboards, and that's linking back to the website that simply says budget-friendly sideboards, and they're sorted by budget, right? So it's all about your linking strategy too. That's the most important part. In my opinion, that's probably the most important part, because designs sometimes take time. Sometimes we're all in a pinch and you got to get it out the door. But if your linking strategy is top notch, you're going to convert a lot more, because customers may see the same link every single time, or worse, if you're linking the homepage, oh my God, stop what you're doing right now. You want to go from click to conversion seamlessly. So number 1, ignore the homepage. Don't drive traffic back to your homepage, right? You want to go to PDP, product detail page, or PLP, product listing page, because those convert. And I want you to think beyond just going to a homepage or even a collection page. When you click back to a PDP, number 1, it's for most brands, it's a faster path to conversion, right? Add to cart, go to checkout, easy, straight in. But people don't realize that also when you click back to a product detail page, it triggers automations. In this case, it triggers browse abandon. So now with one send, I don't need to follow up. We see Klaviyo adding this new follow-up option. Follow up with them on a campaign. I don't need to follow up. That just makes them more money. My automations will follow up for me if I did my linking strategy correctly, right? So the browse abandon will trigger after they click back to a product. Easy peasy. Hack your URLs. You have a whole amazing Shopify, WooCommerce custom build website. So hack your URLs and make them work for you. Match your email and site with site personalization if you can, right? what they see in their email, as long as it matches the site, you're in a really good place. You can't always do it, admittedly, but if you can match the email experience with the website experience, that eases the path to conversion. Remove friction. Get customers in, out, and sold, right? Get them in, out, and done. Less friction. No pop-ups on the page, right? If they just came in, right? Boom, let's go straight in. Get them bought. And remember this, that the money is in the follow-up. As I said before, anyone who clicks back to a PDP or a PLP, we have automations we build out for brands that automatically follow up for them. I don't need to send another campaign. I don't even need to follow up with, to my non-openers for another campaign. That's a waste of time. The flows do it for me. Let me show you a great example of this, right? We talked about the sideboards under $300, right? So I click back to, right? I got that email maybe on a Monday, okay? And I was viewing the sideboards on like a Friday. So I got this email on Monday and I went back to my budget-friendly sideboards. Pretty good. Then I got sideboards on sale on a Wednesday. So waited 2 days or so and sent me sideboards on sale. I didn't quite buy yet, so they reminded me. And what happened? I went back to a different link, different experience. From a consumer point of view, it's like I'm looking at something totally new. Totally new. What does that do? That leads me to explore more. And when I'm on site and exploring more, higher chance I'm buying. Guess what? I did buy at the end of the day, right? So different creatives had different links every single time. And you can do this on your site pretty simply, okay? Look at your site. I'm taking Sephora as a great example of a large retailer that has a lot of options here. You probably have your sorting filters, right? Sort by relevance, sort by bestsellers, sort by low to high, sort by new arrivals, right? Sort by sale, all these sorting options. And then you also have your filtering where you can filter by age range or skin type or sale or size. And then on top of that, you also have navigation, mini size, body moisturizers, bath and shower. You put all these together, you probably, if you put them all together, you probably have about a good 100 URLs that you can use for an email series, right? I'm not saying use 100, but pick out your top 10 URLs that you think will convert the best, roll it out into a 10 email series. That's using your website very effectively. And if you don't have sorting or filtering on your website, you are missing out because most likely people are coming to your site, seeing something, and the next campaign you send, they'll see the same stuff. What's the point? Get sorting and filtering options on your website because you can use those URLs to create totally new campaigns. Customer will not realize that there's a new whole selection you have here. Again, if you have 1 or 5 products, yeah, maybe you don't need this. This may not be for you. But we're talking 100 SKUs, 1,000 SKUs, 6,000 SKUs. We have one brand right now that has 75,000 products. Sorting and filtering is pivotal for them. So make sure that you're leveraging your linking strategy as part of this. This is where designers don't think about. They don't care. This is where your design agency kind of strikes out. They don't care what you link to, right? Because they're designers. They're here to design a deliverable. But the linking strategy is where you convert the most. Takeaways on this one. Go beyond the product, right? Focus on the collection, the sorting and filtering, right? Examine it. New arrivals sorting, bestsellers sorting, free shipping filter, under X amount, bundles. Bundles are great. Struggling with AOV? Bundles are great. Top rated, price low to high, sale. You have all these options at your fingertips. Know your breadcrumbs too, right? If I'm looking at let's say I'm looking at a Sony camera, take that example. Sony mirrorless camera, right? Right here, Sony mirrorless camera. I may not be interested in this Sony mirrorless camera I looked at, but I'm still interested in Sony. I'm still interested in mirrorless cameras. I'm definitely be interested in Sony mirrorless cameras on sale or bestsellers or new arrivals or bundles, right? So now I took the data the customer's telling me and putting different links into the emails I send them. And now they see something different. They show variety. It's helpful. Very helpful to me, right? Really important to take your linking strategy into account with every creative you send. And the bonus of this all, now that we went through the C4 playbook, the bonus is there's more testing, more learning, and more money, right? And you can test across every pillar of this, right? Let's go back to context where we can test copy there. We could test context of your message. Flash sale versus one-day sale. You can test offer, right? You saw how those different creatives I created for this brand, right? 15% off versus 50% off. 15% off versus 20% off, let's just say, for example, right? Creative testing. You can test along creatives too. One click versus scrollable versus text-based. Ad nauseum, you have a whole bunch of options. You can test about the customer, send time, and location, and segments. And of course, you can test to how to improve your conversion. Different linking strategy. Should we create landing pages? PLP versus PDP, right? A lot of ways to test across every pillar of the C4 design playbook. That's how you grow beyond just sending a one-size-fits-all design. That's our C4 playbook. C4 design playbook. Context. Accentuate the why. Why is this email important to my life? Feature, offer, benefits. Creatives, right? Designed to get the click, because every relationship starts with a click. Customer. Putting the customer at the center of every email you send. Personalize as much as you can with every email. And fourth, conversion. Go from click to conversion seamlessly and let them see something different. If they didn't buy from the first one, they'll buy from the next link, and maybe from the next link, and maybe from the next link, because it's all differentiated and dynamic. That's our C4 design playbook, and it works extremely, extremely well. Let me show you some design case studies and success stories that we talked about. Obviously, the first one I just talked about before, right? Who wouldn't love that result, right? Half the email sent, double the revenue generated simply by reconfiguring our strategy there, right? No more one-size-fits-all creatives, going down to dynamic creatives. I can create that with Grid and Pixel right now if I want to, right? I can create that with our designer right now because we have it templatized. We know exactly what works, right? I've been sending flash sale for years. Now I just version it out with different brands, different products, right? Look at the different product in every single email. Higher clicks across every single email, higher conversion. Double the revenue, half the sends, lower Klaviyo costs, more profits. Another quick case study I'll go through just to make sure we're at time. This 8-figure brand right here rethought their design approach, right? Look at this gorgeous looking email. Really nice, right? You have email on the left, which was more of a sale email, cascading long email, a lot of scrolling, right? And you have also on the right, more of an educational email, informative email. Scrolling again. Some of your designer pops out and says like, oh yeah, I love this design. Looks like a landing page. No one cares about a landing page. You want to get the click, right? Click through. The landing page is the landing page, right? Let them go to the landing page, right? So this one had 1,200. First email number one on the left, 1,200 clicks. Email on the right, 600 clicks. And they made totally about $22,000. We revamped their approach. Focus on the customer, showing travel pics related to every single customer. Designed with the context of these are new picks for you. Be the first, right? Different context. Creatives designed with you in mind, right? Designed with different products, variety, selection, unique. Customer, algorithmically driven, machine learning products within our email. So they see variety. Everyone sees something new. One-to-one connection. And find the linking strategy, which you don't see here. Linking strategy, going back to a different collection than they ever sent before. Not the homepage anymore. Not a standard collection page, but sorted and filtered for every different segment, right? The result, 2,200 clicks, which was 3.5 times the normal click rate, $32,000 in revenue, and best of all, zero margin reduction. All full price, no sale. Let me show you a little bit bigger. $11,000 in average revenue from those two sends, 9,000 clicks, and a 15% discount on the left, versus $32,000 in revenue from one send. Double the clicks, twice the revenue, no discounts. That's a 10-figure strategy with a C4 email design playbook. Right here, again, same example. $32,000 in revenue from one send just by doubling the clicks and improving the speed to conversion. Here's another 9-figure retailer, which I show this on every webinar here, right? Clear example. Look at the delivered rate. We sent 11% fewer emails, yet we made 54% more revenue. This brand went from $47 million a year to $73 million a year in 8 months. We sent fewer campaigns, fewer messages, open rate down 18% open rate down. How'd they grow? Better clicks, 6% higher clicks, better orders, better conversion, right? That's the magic. That's it. That's all your design needs to do. More clicks, speed to conversion. Better clicks, better links, right? Straight to conversion. That's how you grow 54%. Millions of dollars, millions and millions and millions. Another 8-figure brand went from $35,000 a month to $200,000 a month. Same philosophy. I'll go through that really quickly. They were down 41%. They went up 483% year over year. Same time period, same campaigns, same amount of inventory, same exact structure, same months. I'm not comparing Q1 to Q4, right? That's a bad comparison. Never compare period over period. Compare period over year, right? Really important to remember that. And they also add SMS on top of that, so that also helped. But $600,000 in that quarter versus $107,000 in revenue. Total game changer. They went to 45% of revenue from the email program because they're building better customer relationships, right? 10-figure retailer went from $10 million a month to $30 million a month in only 12 months because of their clicks and their conversions from their C4 design playbook. I'm not going to go through this one. Also, $112,000 a month to $354,000 a month in 90 days. This 8-figure retailer tripled their email revenues by just putting the customer at the center of their communication. It works for 6-figure brands to 10-figure brands because at the end of the day, the strategy is above all. It's not design, it's not copy, it's not coding. It's about the strategy. That's why it works for retailers and brands worldwide. Just got to implement it. Last part of this, why your brand fails to get this strategy going. Let's kind of recap what is holding you back right now. Again, I talked about this before earlier. No time, unimaginable time constraints, but really what's holding you back is that you have a designer and not a strategist doing this for you, right? Your email design agency is really a design agency. They're designers. That's all they are, right? And it's subjective. They don't have a strategy in place, right? And obsessed with vanity metrics or scrollable emails or things they could put in the Louvre on the wall and an award. Look at our amazing, gorgeous emails, right? That get no clicks and no conversion. And brands are starting to get savvy about it, right? This one found a freelancer on Upwork, realized she was wasting her time, came to us. This brand hired agencies who experiment on the list with design. I'm going to experiment with this design, experiment with that design. Can't afford it. Burning their list. Not worth it. And then the marketer, the rookie agencies never really got the foundation along. Why? Because they're designers. They don't know the foundation. Another list burnt, right? Came to us. You don't want to look for those designers and those coders and those copywriters because they're a dime a dozen. Look for the rare gems, the ones that are retention experts that yield you major results. That's the strategy you have in place, right? Retention experts like my team, real world experience, proven frameworks. We connect with the person behind the inbox, high level strategy, high level tactics. And you think beyond just sending emails and texts and just great designs. You think about connecting with the person behind the inbox, the most important thing above all. As I said, proven 10-figure frameworks, zero guesswork. I've done this at the 10-figure brands. I've tested ad nauseum on them. Now we implement it much more successfully. Let's recap, right? I've shared the market data on how your design is slowly killing your email list because you're lacking personalization. Personalization is the tip of the spear, not design. Not design. Personalization is everything. Design is a small little subset of that. I've shown how my 4-step 10-figure email design playbook that always works. I've shown it to you. I've highlighted numerous success stories and results when you implement it. Shown, hands down, brands that have sending fewer emails, like I promised you, fewer emails, but better ones. Better clicks, better links, higher conversion. Now I'm going to share with you how brands are implementing this with our help. I can implement this strategy for you within minutes, right? If you're a serious brand and you've looked through all this and you're amazed at it and you say, wow, there's probably a better way out there. Yes, there is a better way out there. I'm going to show with you how to do that. I invite you, just book a free email SMS retention audit, and I'll show you how to apply the C4 design playbook to your brand pretty clearly, right? That's not all. We'll walk you through a whole bunch of other things, and you can see it in the results overall. On that audit, I'll show you what you're doing well, where there's massive room for improvement, what the revenue gap looks like, how we can partner together to close it down, I'll give you a campaign teardown, recommendations, flow analysis, list growth, list hygiene, deliverability, and so much more. And the cool part also of this audit is that I also dive into my email ROI calculator, which shows you down to the number which clients say are eerily accurate, down to the number what the actual dollar revenue gap looks like, and obviously our strategy of how we can close it for you, right? And this is why brands are saying this is one of the best audits they've ever had, hands down. This beats out anyone else's audit. Because why? They're thinking about it from an email perspective. They're thinking about sending emails. They're thinking about designing your emails. They're thinking about writing your emails. I think of it as like, how do we build better customer relationships, right? Everything else is easy from there, right? Because it's about segmentation, personalization, automation, and multiplication, okay? That's the magic of it. You can scan this code to book an audit and watch as my audit unlocks $200,000 in just 15 minutes. This is an 8-figure brand. I'm going to do their audit behind the scenes, scan that code, and it'll show you exactly what I do on that audit. And you'll be surprised at the revenue it unlocks on that. I already rented that before. Before audit, this brand was making $107,000 in revenue. In the quarter after, $600,000 in revenue. Pretty solid amount. And if you like what you see, we implemented 100% done for you. Start to finish, we get it done for you. That's the best part. And even better, go to this slide here, we implement our 10-figure email strategy and our 10-figure retention strategy, and we do SMS for free on top of that. If you see the value in the audit, we will do email, retention, and your SMS for free, absolutely for free. What's the value of that? SMS adds a whole new 10-figure channel to your program. This 7-figure retailer went from $1,000 a month in SMS revenue to $12,000 a month in just 90 days. Just 90 days, zoomed up. Another one went from $0 in SMS revenue to $20,000 in revenue in 30 days. Huge, huge gain, 1,300% increase in revenue, not to mention their email program going to the next level, right? And above all, if you actually, after the audit, you see the results, see the ROI impact, if you feel like DIYing it, I'll still give you this. I'll give you all this content for free to help you get going. I just want to see better emails in my inbox. I'm a customer. I want to see a better customer relationship too. There's a better way of doing it. I'll give you this content. Do it yourself. If you're stuck, give us a call. We'll do it for you. And as promised, at the end of this webinar, I wanted to give you all this for free anyway, right? You can go to highflyerdigital.com/book. I will book an audit. After the audit, like I said, I will send this all to you. Over $12,000 of content. It's probably up to $15,000 of content now. We add some more stuff. We're going to add in our SMS playbook also by the end of the quarter. So you'll have a lot of good insight and content to start working with after the audit and before the audit. You're a hero to your customers. Along the way, you lost track. You started listening to people telling you to send more emails, right? And you start treating your customers like emails and phone numbers, right? But there are people there, and you were a hero to your customers. But eventually, because you start treating them like emails and phone numbers, they stopped engaging. And now your profits may be falling and your revenue is tanking. Customers are churning. Your list is broken. Revenue stuck. You're not growing, falling behind. It's time to get back to that, right? You gotta start taking action and don't wait because your list is getting burned every single time by designers that have no strategy or agencies that think that just design is the tip of the spear. It's not. Don't wait longer to book that audit because if you destroy your best asset, your email and SMS list, your customer list, data's right here. You may be destroying your business with it, right? That's your best asset, hands down. Time to reconnect with your customers. Stop the bleeding before you lose your list forever. Whew. Thanks for joining. This has been a great, great webinar, really in depth. I really love the content of this webinar, and I hope you did too. Design is not the tip of the spear. Personalization is. We're on a mission to help you connect with the person behind the inbox and unlock the true revenue potential from every customer on your list. You deserve it. You spent years building this list. It's time you actually tap into its potential. Scan the code, book your free audit now, and I'll show you how to implement this C4 design playbook into your brand and actually turn your email list into profitable, predictable revenue streams for your business and actually win 2025. Thanks for joining. Hope you found some great value of this. If you loved it, give it a like or a share with anyone you meet. And again, book that free audit and we'll get started with you right away. Thank you so much. Have a great one.